Hey everybody, welcome to Garrett's Games and Geekiness. We are going to be trying to do these videos now along with our audio podcast, especially now that we just got back from Essen and we have a few games to look at, right honey?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Very
so how
excited.
you doing, honey bunch?
I'm okay.
I always say that, so that's,
know,
traditional. You got to say
true,
it.
even though you know it's not so good. But I'm getting better each day.
Yes, this is going to go up just in a little bit, so we will have been back less than a week from Germany. And for those of you who were paying attention, we were late to the ball game in terms of getting to Spiel because somebody had to leave part of herself in Berlin.
My appendix.
Yes, her appendix was taken out. So
we're still waiting.
We're still recovering on that, but she's doing okay. We've got a chance to play some games. So
yes,
I love you, beautiful.
Excited.
I'm glad everything's working out.
Me too. I'm very happy right now.
So the plan for each of these videos is that we're going to do a game that we've played at least a couple of times, just so we get a really good feel for it. As we do on the podcast, we play every single game 2 or 3 times at least, so we really get an idea of what's going on before we ever talk to you about it, because we don't want to do a disservice to the game and so on. So this week we have a game released by MEBO Games and Arcane Wonders. That's Floresta. It is by Nuno Santos and Przemek Wojtkowiak. Sorry, Przemek. I'm sorry if that's wrong. And it's for 2 to 4 players, I should say. And
what is this? Is this the artist?
That is the artist. Yeah, Roman Kusharski is the artist. Right. Yes, exactly. And for 2 to 4 players, 14 plus and 60 to 90 minutes is what you've got. And so we got a chance to play a couple of times. I'm going to now move the camera so we can talk a little bit about what the game's all about. And hopefully it's the first time, so be kind to us here. And some of the components and how the game works. Okay, so Floresta is a modular board. So you can see that there are 9 big cardboard tiles that make up the board. In the 4 corners, you have these watchtower boards. They have a little symbol over here for a watchtower. And they are going to give you some type of bonus, some type of end game scoring, depending upon how tall you build. See if I can do this on my hand. Your watchtower, 1, 2, or 3 pieces. And as you do that, you also then get to put out your fire truck, all right, which then allows you to move, depending upon how high your thing is, to maybe just the 2 orthogonal boards that are next to. If I built my watchtower in this area, if I build it 2, I can move to these 3 boards. And if I build it completely up, I will be able to move to any of the boards in the plus, because these are the forest boards that we've got. So you're building your watchtower on one of these at some point during the game. And then you're also putting trees. Here are little trees, all different types of trees. Yep. Here's another one. There you go, Shell. That you are going to be placing on these circles that have die pips on them. Now, you're not rolling dice. This is not a dice game. Instead, it is a game where you've got cards that you're playing. Everybody has 3 cards in their hand every round, and they have in the upper left corner a number that is assigned to them. And notice some of them are tan and others are a darker red color, all right? And so you need to follow the directions and restrictions of each board as you are playing. And also, you are going to play a card, place either a tower piece or a tree, possibly do the special action that is associated on the bottom of the card, and then draw your card, draw from the number of players plus 1, face-up cards that are available so that you end your turn with 3 cards in your hand. All right? So you are going to then, as you turn over cards subsequently, in the deck, there are going to be some cards that have up here in the upper right corner, matching the grid, Places where fire could break out. Now, here we are in California. Fire is something that we're definitely, unfortunately, intimately connected to. And so this, the theme really works here. What you're going to do if you're placing fire, so say I had this card, that will tell me I'm going to place fire in the middle and over here. So I would roll the die, and in this case a 6, and I would look and help. Here's the 6. So any pathway on either side of a 6 that has not been placed on, I'm going to have to put fire there. On a subsequent turn, I may have to expand that fire, okay? And these fire actions happen at the end of every single round. If you have a tree that is next to fire, after you've had a chance with your fire truck to deal with fire out on the board, you are going to lose a point per tree that is affected by fire. All right, so that's a big thing as well. But if you stop the fire with the fire truck, for every fire that you put out, you are going to get a victory point, all right? But then you lose victory points if a tree is being affected by fire after you've had a chance to possibly put out some of the fires that are on the board. You are going to lose points from that one,
right,
okay? The boards themselves have some different things on them. So for example, this bottom one, and you can see the different boards have symbols in the upper left corners that have explanatory notes in the rules. Now I should say these are all double-sided. There is a star. They recommend that you start with the star boards when you are doing your first game. So you have the star boards, and then you have other things, and then you can just mix and match as you go forward from game to game. So you have some interesting bits and pieces in here. Some of them, as you can see, have pathways where you have to start. So this one, you have to start the pathway on one of these 4, and then you can move in, and as long as there's a tree next to it, you can get there. Here you're collecting different camping stuff, as well as getting victory points when you place a tree on there. And this is if you collect sets, you're going to get sets at the end of the game. With this one, it's an area majority, where whoever has the most trees at the end on this board is going to get it. And then you have also these Iberian lynxes. And so you might be placing a lynx and be required to place a lynx out as you place a tree. Yeah, the lynxes are really cool.
They're pretty cute.
They're pretty awesome. And you score points there. This one, you're going to lose points if you still have lynx in hand at the end of the game. So that's the end game negative. On this one, it's whoever has the most control of lynx in the various areas, you are going to score a certain number of points. So there's in-game scoring and end game scoring. And the game is going to last over 18 rounds, 18 to 21, but usually 18, because you have, at least in a 2-player game, I should say, because in a 2-player game, and you have to play with green and brown in a 2-player game, and you put out trees on spots to block some of the areas. So there are 3 times where you are going to be able to place a bonus tree if you score up as soon as you hit 20 points, as soon as you have a tree in all of the forest areas. And the third way is as soon as you have played cards with values 1 through 6, because you don't just discard your cards, you place them in front of you, and so you have the collection of cards, and so that kind of determines that. So that's an overview. Did I miss anything?
I don't believe so, dear.
Okay.
I mean...
Oh, wait, hang on. There is axes, so you can adjust values.
Oh, on the tips of the
and
die.
that's one of the special actions. So, for example, if I had this card in my hand and played, say I play on this 6 over here, when I play it, I get an axe. So subsequently, I can make some modifications. Some of the other special things are being able to put a fire break on the board on which you play, which means that fire can't jump that over.
To protect your trees.
Or you can take more fire than you would with your fire truck off the board, and you score points, of course, whenever you take fire off the board.
But you have to be in the area that you put your
exactly.
trees. sometimes that'll determine if you can't even use that extra power, right?
Exactly. So you play as soon as someone, and it's usually going to be on the same round, but as soon as someone finishes, or on a turn when someone finishes out the trees that they've placed. So that would, it is possible, of course, if you haven't built your tower that you've gone through and gotten all of your trees, but maybe somebody didn't get their bonuses. So who's gotten their bonuses is going to run out of trees first. So that may happen there. Okay, so what do we think of this game?
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a great game to play. I love how the boards change.
Yeah, the modular board is really cool.
It has a lot of intense feelings because you're always going to be trying to put out fires that you can't always do.
That's true.
And you're trying to balance out, well, where do you want to put your pieces, and then where do you want to fight your fires?
Right.
And when should you build up your towers versus when you want to not do that and have fire spreading.
Yeah, we had really interesting things between the games that we played where
Very different games.
Fire came out big early because you do the deck and then you put the fire cards in and shuffle the deck after you've put out the initial cards and everybody's gotten their cards. Sure. So it could come out early and the board's like filled with fire. And then we, were able to get our fire engines out and deal with some of it. But some of it, you're kind of just batting back the flames and then they come back. Right.
It's sort of a temporary kind of fix at times.
Yeah. Well, but in another game, we were able to clear the board of fire.
That was incredible.
Which was really nice. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because
so we didn't have to worry
you
about
don't want to clear. You want to clear because to get the victory points.
That is true.
But you may not want to clear because that means the other person, maybe you're helping the other person too.
That's true. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
That's the other thing. You're trying to do ones that will protect your trees and not necessarily your opponent's trees.
Exactly. You
want the victory points.
Yeah, but you get the victory points whenever you clear fire. With your fire engines, you clear 2 of the fire pieces. Okay. Every round.
All these boards, these ones that are associated with the watchtower, they all have special powers. So one of them is that
you can clear 3 instead of 2.
And you used that one
I used that
one
pretty well. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I had one that allowed me to get extra links, which then allow you to play in areas that require links.
Right.
So that's important. That was a fun one to play with. And that was not my chosen one, but that happened to be the card I was able to get.
Right.
And I wanted to try to clear some fire.
Right. You do want to try and make the best of the cards that you have in your hand, as well as the ones that are available to you, because you can never draw blind. You have the cards that you've got face up in front of you, and you got to deal with those.
And fire comes at the end of every round.
It does.
So it's continual. So it's not you play and you get the points or the some power associated with it. Maybe you get some camping equipment or something that you can then trade in for victory points at the end of the game.
Right. The fire comes when these fire cards come out in the display, and then that's the very end of a round. You then roll and the fire goes in. So you know where the fire is going to be and where you might have to deal with it before you put new trees out, and where you're going to send your fire truck.
But oftentimes you have to put your trees in an area that's being surrounded by fire.
Yes.
Which means you might get a point and then you're also going to lose points.
Now it is possible to discard a card completely and just get rid of a tree. So you're not putting a tree out on the board.
I see. Okay.
Now we didn't get to a point where that would happen, but it was.
You get these, not only do you get something initially with these boards, but you get something at the end too, oftentimes.
That's true.
That's a factor as well.
Right. So, with this one, for example, the Watchtower, you might choose this one. You can score 6, 10, or 16 points, depending upon the size of the Watchtower you build. And, that means your fire engine can go places. But then the bonus you get is anytime you're using a dark colored circle card, it can be any number, not just the number that's on it. So, for example, this one could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 if you had built your watchtower on
in
this
that location.
One. Exactly.
So I had one that allowed me also to use the color. The color didn't matter.
Right.
So if I had the number, I could go where any of these colors were.
Right.
So that's always something you're paying attention to too. Is some of the boards have both colors and some have only one.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's a factor.
Yeah, you can see that. This one, you could play either a dark or light 3, whereas this is just dark, this is just light. All right, so that is Floresta. Floresta from MEBO Games and Arcane Wonders, 2 to 4 players, plays in 60 to 90 minutes, straightforward, interesting, thought-provoking, really cool bits, and definitely has the replayability as well.
Oh yes, most definitely.
That'll do it for Floresta from Nuno Santos and Przemek Wojtkowiak. Great game, 60 to 90 minutes, 2 to 4 players, MEBO Games and Arcane Wonders. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope you give a thumbs up, subscribe, and we're going to be doing more of these along with our audio podcast, of course, that we have over at garrettsgames.com. You can sponsor either of these things by going to patreon.com/garrettsgames, or some of these games, not this one, but some of these games are going to wind up on that games for sale list that we have. And hey, maybe a game that no longer fits on our shelf belongs on your table, and you can get a game that way and support the podcast. Either way, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in a little while. Take care. Bye.